Hey everyone, Combo here, back with another Empires and Puzzles video, and today we are going to talk about the July 2025 Outfitter event. I'm going to talk briefly about what it is in case if you are not familiar with it. We're going to talk about all of the available costumes you could get from the Outfitter event if you have their regular original hero, and that is going to include 9 Toons that were not previously available in any Outfitter event that are going to be available now. And I think that those are going to be some very popular options in this upcoming Outfitter event. And as I go through this list that was actually researched by Oxide, one of our fellow contributors in the community, thank you for doing the research to figure out which heroes' costumes were eligible for this event. But as I go through the list of heroes, I'm going to pinpoint some specific ones that I think are very worthwhile to pick if you don't already have their costume. Real quick before we get into all of that, if you do enjoy this video or find it helpful, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and turn that notification bell on so you can be alerted of when I drop new content. So first, what is the Outfitter event in case if you are not already aware? This is the official forum post by Small Giant where it says this recurring event allows players to get certain costumes for their heroes in exchange for gems. After selecting a hero, the Outfitter will show which costume is available. The Outfitter will always offer the oldest missing costume for the selected hero and only offers costumes released earlier than 18 months or 548 days before the start of the event. You can only choose those heroes which has a costume that you do not have. Once you select a hero, then you can see which costume you will get. Players can get 1 costume per event. That last part is very important, so don't think that you can go getting multiple costumes. Make sure that you choose the one hero whose costume you want to get for that event. This event appears to be coming every 3 months or so, although I think that they are a month behind because it originally came in December and then didn't come back until April, and now we are seeing it in July, so hopefully this is a regular recurring schedule where we will hopefully see this every 3 months. When the event goes live on July 28th, actually I didn't mention that yet, so this event will be live in the game from July 28th through July 30th, so you will have 3 days while the event is live in game to decide which costume you want to get. This graphic here will pop up when you select that icon, and Line String will stitch together, so to speak, the costume that you choose for whichever hero that you have. As far as the cost for this, legendary heroes will cost you 300 gems, epic heroes will cost you 200 gems, and rare heroes will cost you 100 gems. I don't really see a specific need to get an epic or rare level costume, but maybe there's a very specific one that you have just never been able to get. But I would think that there would be at least one hero on your roster that you don't have a legendary costume for that would be eligible. So hopefully that is the case for you. All right, now let's go take a look at Oxide's list of eligible heroes that you can get costumes for. If you want to reference this post that I am going to show you right now, if you go to the master discussion for the Visiting Outfitter event, which I will pin a comment with a link to that below, you just want to skip to the 420th reply, and that's going to bring you to Oxide's post where you can see the list of legendary, epic, and rare heroes also if you want to take a look at those. But included in this list is if they have multiple costumes. So if I just scroll over to the right here, you can see that there is now an option for a third costume for those Toons that are available now, and there are 9 Toon costumes that are available. It's not every single one of the 5 stars from the Season 1 family, but there are 9 that are now eligible for having been out in the game for at least 18 months. I am going to slowly scroll through this list. I am not going to read off every single one of these 187 heroes. I will call out a few of them that I think are worthwhile potentially to get a costume for, although just because I don't say somebody's name does not mean that they are not worth it to get their costume. If you've only got, say, a Lassie because she was once available in the Fated Summon and you have her maxed and you don't have anybody else to get a costume for, then it would still definitely be worth it for you to get their costume. Basically, if you use a hero in war and you don't have a costume and it's available in this Outfitter event, then that means it's probably worth it for you to get them. Obviously, this list is also very dependent on what your roster looks like and, again, who you actually have that's on this list. And the first hero that I'm actually going to call out right now is Aino, or Aino, not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but she is from the Kale Vela family. She's a healer, and the Kale Vela costume bonus just got a buff a month or two ago. I think it was in June, and it was a pretty significant buff, honestly. So if you do have her and you use her in wars and don't have her costume, she could be an option for you. If you're using Alberic, he is a reviver that could be worthwhile for you to get his costume. Alfrike is definitely a very good option if you don't have her costume, and especially if you use her. Scrolling through here, Athena is one that has been on my top 10 list for outfitter events for the last several months since the event first came out. Her costume is definitely worth getting so that you can get the stat boost for her from the costume bonus. And a lot of these heroes are going to be just the fact that they are going to get that costume bonus. It's going to increase their stats a lot and make them much more relevant in the game, increase their shelf life and longevity, and make them more durable and stronger, obviously, when you use them in a war battle. We've got our first Season 1 hero with Aslar, and his tune is available. Now remember, you need to have the first two costumes in order to get the tune costume from the outfitter event. It only gives you the oldest available costume. So if you've only got the first one, for example, and you don't have the second one, you're not going to be able to get the tune costume without having both of those first two costumes. So keep that in mind, but really any of these tune costumes are likely worth it for you to get if you don't already have them. And especially if you've already got their main part of their hero leveled up. Scrolling through here, Bera and Black Knight are definitely interesting options for their costumes. We've got another Season 1 hero with Domitia, and her tune is not available, unfortunately. But if you've only got her first one, meaning her first costume, and you don't have her second one, if you don't have a better option to choose a costume for, then maybe choosing that costume might be a good idea so that you can get her tune the next time it comes around in a few months. Scrolling through here, we've got another Season 1 hero with Elena, and her tune costume is not available, as you can see. So it's going to be the same situation for her as it was for Domitia, and really for any other Season 1 hero. If you've got only their first costume, it may be worth it again to get their second one so that you can get their tune costume in a few months. Scrolling through, we've got another Season 1 hero with Elkanin, and his tune is available in this July outfitter event. So if you've got his first two costumes, you'll be able to get his tune costume if you wanted to. Evelyn is a very popular one that I think people are going to get her costume this event. She is one of the stronger nature elemental defense down heroes, and her costume makes her a lot more relevant. Scrolling through here, not really seeing anybody that jumps out at me until we get to Guardian Gazelle. Guardian Gazelle has been a top 2 option for me really since the outfitter event came out in December of 2024, and at the same time, she was actually available in the Fated Summon. So a lot of people, myself included, got her in the Fated Summon and then grabbed her costume in the outfitter event and was able to get a very good hero pretty much for free. So if you have her main version and don't already have her costume, she is a very good option. Guardian Panther was somebody also who I believe a lot of people got. She was available in the Fated Summon. It was either that same exact time or maybe the time before. Scrolling through, Heimdall and his costume definitely make him a pretty decent reviver. Hell is somebody who I would love to say is worth it, but unfortunately I just feel like her special skill and the damage she does is just very, very low. I used to use her all the time with her costume, and unfortunately she just does not do any damage with the power creep that is in the game right now. Defenses are way too high for her attack stat to do any damage. We've got another Season 1 hero, actually 3 in a row actually, with June, Justice, and Caitlyn. Let's see whose tunes are available, and none of them are available in this outfitter event. You'll have to wait until the October outfitter event, or assuming that it comes back in October. Scrolling through, we've got another Season 1 hero with Kagan, and his tune is also not available. I feel like his tune was one of the last ones to come out. Scrolling through, we've got Krampus. His costume is definitely worth it if you don't already have him. Kalervo is another one. He was actually in my top 5 list for when the outfitter event came in April, and he's another one who was part of the Kayla Vela family who just got a big costume bonus increase, so definitely worth it to get his costume if you don't have that already. Scrolling through, Lady of the Lake is an interesting one, but a little too specific with being slow mana speed. Lepiota is another one who was a great option and who was available in the current actual Fated Summit, I believe, right now. So she could be a good option. And we've got our next Season 1 hero with Liana. Her toon is also not available yet. So you'll have to wait till October for that. But we've got probably the number one option if you don't already have his costume, and that is Lord Loki. Lord Loki is one of the most popular heroes in the game to use against Bernadette. So if you don't have his costume already to increase his stats, then you may want to pick that up. We've got another Season 1 hero with Magni, and his toon is available in this July Outfitter event if you want to get that. And again, I've mentioned it a couple times already, you need to have those first two costumes in order to get the toon. You can only get the oldest possible costume that you don't already have. Scrolling through, we've got another Season 1 hero with Marjana, and her toon is also available. So that is definitely good to see. Scrolling through here, not seeing anybody else except maybe Mother North if you don't have her costume. And really, again, only if you've got her main version of her leveled up already. Scrolling through a little more, Norns is a popular one for Titans and Mythic Titans. Obakan is another Season 1 hero, and his toon is available if you've got his first two versions of his costumes. Scrolling through some more, we've got Perseus. He is another top option for Outfitter events, in my opinion. He has a very strong elemental defense down with, I think, minus 68% against ice, so he's extremely useful for Titans and Mythic Titans. Scrolling through some more here, we've got another Season 1 hero with Quintus, and his costume, or toon rather, is not available yet. That one you'll have to wait until the October event when that comes back. We've got another Season 1 hero with Richard, and his toon is available. And Richard, in my opinion, is probably the best toon in the game between him and Thorn, although Richard already has a glass version of his costume, so he gets even more of a stat increase if you've got all the costumes. But I really like those two because of the fact that they are paladins, and their superior masterclass talents make it so that each time they get hit, they have a 50% chance to give a defense up to themselves and their nearby allies, and all three of them also get a 10% health increase. On top of the fact that they are both very strong hitters, and they do extra damage to red, and we're still seeing a lot of Bernadette out there in wars. They'll have a 75% chance to resist the paintings, and when they do get their specials off, they'll be able to do extra damage to her because she's red. So I definitely think Richard is a great option if you've already got his first two costumes. Scrolling through here, we've got Sam and Loki. Just kidding, I would not get his costume, but that's just my personal opinion. Scrolling through some more, we've got Sartana, another Season 1 hero, and her toon is also available, and I would consider her to be pretty much the next one in a ranking, so to speak, behind Toon, Richard, and Thorn because of her superior masterclass talents being a wizard. So most of you are probably already familiar, but those Season 1 heroes who are wizards have a chance to dispel buffs just from hitting with tiles. That's part of their superior masterclass talents, so that is extremely useful against pretty much any buff that is out there, whether that's counterattack, taunt, anything. Scrolling through here, Tarlak is an interesting one if you have his main version already and want to increase his stats for Titans and Mythic Titans, but that's really the main part where he would be useful. I would not recommend him for wars, in my opinion. And then Thorn, is his toon available? It is not, unfortunately. So you won't be able to get that until October. Scrolling through some more, we've got Vivica, and her toon, I believe, is available, and it is. And Toon Vivica, obviously, is the only 5-star Season 1 healer. That makes her very useful if you're trying to put together a toon team against, say, a Bernadette or Fergus or whoever you're going up against that is trying to give ailments or reduce mana. So she would be a great option. Xenolfod is a very interesting one because he is going to be in the Fated Summon on July 21st. So on July 21st, we're getting a Fated Summon refresh. The list of 20 heroes that are currently available is going to change on that date, and Xenolfod is is one of the new heroes who will be available in the Fated Summon when that comes back around. So this is a great opportunity if you need a good purple healer to pick him up in the Fated Summon and then to get his costume in the Outfitter event. He was in the top 5 of my Fated Summon ranking list. I did put out a Fated Summon ranking list probably about a week ago or so. I will pin a comment with a link to that video as well. So definitely check out that video if you haven't already. And Xenolphon is pretty much going to be the last hero that I am going to bring up as far as that I think is worth it on this list. This month's Outfitter event is going to benefit a lot of people because of these new 9 Toons that are now available. So definitely excited to see a lot of people benefit from this. As far as if I were to create a top 10 available options for this July 2025 Outfitter event, and I'm not going to rank them from 1 to 10, but I will give you my top 10 options in my opinion. I still have to have Lord Loki and Guardian Gazelle on that list. Their specials are just too good and too useful against Bernadette. Kullervo is another one because of his use against Bernadette that I would definitely still include in the top 10. Alfrike, I really feel like deserves a spot in the top 10 as well. So I'll say her as my 4th hero. And then I'm going to list one other non-Toon in my top 10. So that 5th one is going to be Athena. I think both her and Perseus are very useful and valuable. But Athena, because of that defense down that escalates, and she has the highest defense down in the game. So she would be my 5th option as a non-Toon. I don't know if I would consider Xenolphon a top 10 option, but I do think that he will be a very popular option in this Outfitter event because of the fact that his main hero card is going to be available in the Fated Summon that comes out on July 21st. And with the Outfitter event coming just a week later, I think that he will be a very popular option, but definitely not in my top 10 list. And then there are 9 Toons available. And again, those are Obakon, Sartana, Vivica, Leonidas, Magni, Richard, Elkinen, Aslar, and Marjana. Those are the 9 Toons that are available. And if I were to pick 5 out of those, I definitely would pick Richard, Vivica, and Sartana. So definitely those 3. I think that those 3 are probably the best out of all of the Toons in the Season 1 family. And then for the other 2, I would say Leonidas. I really like his strong snipe. And actually, now that I think about it, I think I may have skipped over him when I was going through this list. So let's go back over here. I'm pretty certain that his Toon was available, and it is, yeah. And yeah, I definitely skipped over him because I went from Lady of the Lake right to Lepiota. And then the last Toon that I would pick is Elkinen. So those would be my top 10, so to speak, for this Outfitter event. I think that Magni and Marjana are both great options as well. Aslar and Obakon would probably be my least favorite 2 Toons out of the 9 that are available this Outfitter event. But obviously, if you've got the first 2 costumes for one of those 2 heroes and you're not going to benefit from anything else, then it probably does make sense to get their Toon costume. It's only 300 gems to get it in the Outfitter event. And that is pretty much all of the information for this July 2025 Outfitter event coming up. Again, this will be available from July 28th through July 30th. Let me know who you are going to be picking in this month's Outfitter event. And that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it or found it helpful. And if you did, hit that like button. Make sure you're subbed to my channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.